how to doesn't work. If how to worked, none of us would be struggling, because we're all smart enough to get how to. We'll talk about this later, but I'll hit it now because it's worth repeating. If how to worked, we would not be the most obese, in debt, medicated, and addicted adults in human history. If how to worked, we wouldn't be struggling as much as we are with feeling lonely and disconnected. And mostly if how to worked, if how to be happy worked, all of us, myself included, every single person in this room, would not struggle all the time with feeling like we're enough, because we would just follow the tips and tricks. And so what we're going to do over the sessions is we're going to walk into some of the hard conversations, because I think that's where the transformation happens. And so we're going to start with talking about culture, and we're going to start with where we are, what we're living in right now. And I'm often asked, how would you describe the culture we're in today? What are we up against? To me, we can't address issues if we don't know the soup that we're swimming in. And so I think it's really important right off the bat to unpack culture and what we're living in. And when I'm asked, what is the culture that defines our experience today, I would say that we live in a culture of deep scarcity. Defined by this: never enough. You can fill in the blanks. Never good enough, rich enough, powerful enough, safe enough, certain enough, perfect enough, extraordinary enough. And one of the most least discussed, but probably most dangerous not enoughs that we're up against is not relevant enough. It is the biggest trigger of shame in the workplace. How many of you are working in a situation right now where the motto is do more with less? And how many of you are working in a situation that is changing every single day? And the question is, hands everywhere. The question is, are my contributions meaningful? The idea of never extraordinary enough, and we're really going to unpack this in a little bit too. We live in a culture today where somehow this idea that if we're not doing extraordinary, huge public things, that we are not enough. That somehow leading an ordinary life, waking up in the morning, loving the people around us, doing our best work, being a part of a community, an ordinary life is synonymous with a meaningless life.